At the beginning of our movie, we see Melissa making cake for their anniversary with Carter, her boyfriend of 5 years. Carter decides to surprise Melissa, but things take the wrong turn as he proposes a gift to her, which obviously looks like a ring, but is apparently a piece of rock from the Alps. He tells her that he's gonna take her hiking, and she tells him that she's always hated heights, and he should have probably known that by now, given that they've been together for years. And this sparks an argument, things get heated, and then Carter breaks up with her. And then a week later, her friend Leslie comes over. She reminds her just how awesome she was when she was in college, and then Leslie convinces Melissa to join a gym. And at the gym, after a bit of a workout, Melissa is introduced to Trey, a very attractive trainer. He offers her a free session, he shows her around, encourages her to join the gym, and she does. And a few days later, at her art gallery, she meets Adam, a very handsome and rich, if I may add, art collector. And it seems that now Melissa is getting ready to move on with her life. And back at the gym, Trey takes a couple pictures of her for the whole before and after effect of a workout. And her first day with her trainer Trey begins. He's very supportive, he seems kind, and he gives her a bracelet that's gonna track her sleeping patterns, her heart rate, and everything else. But even though she was the only one who was supposed to track her own progress, we see that Trey has synced her bracelet to his phone as well. And later on, as Melissa and Leslie were leaving the gym, Leslie brings Melissa's attention to somebody at the gym, and she requests that she ask him out. And we see that Trey's pretty annoyed by this, as he seems to have some kind of interest in Melissa. It's a bit of a creepy interest, as he is now stalking her even as she sleeps, because he's synced her bracelet to his phone. And in the morning, Melissa goes back in the gym again to do her workouts. Trey takes Melissa to the climbing wall, and you know how I said she's terrified of heights? Yeah, he encourages her to get up there, and he has her support, he's holding on to it, and she climbs this big ass wall. Leslie gets there and she starts freaking out at Trey. Melissa makes it to the top and she doesn't get injured. And a day or two later, the attractive art collector, Adam, comes to Melissa's art gallery again and he asks her out. And at night, Melissa goes on her date with Adam. And after Adam got her to her house, we can see that Trey was wearing a hat and being all stalky in the car, spying on them. And next day at her workout, Trey asks her about the date and if it's serious or not, and Melissa tells him that it is. And after her workout, while Melissa was at work at her art gallery, Adam makes an appearance and he sweeps her off her feet, takes her home, cooks for her, and before you know it, they start getting it on. And you know how I told you guys that Trey tracks Melissa's bracelet that controls her heart rate and stuff like that? He notices that her heart rate's getting really high in the middle of the night and he realizes what's going on and he gets pretty angry. And in the morning, like a creep, Trey's outside Melissa's house and he tells her that he got there because she was late and he figured they could just jog to the gym. And then this weird interaction happens when Trey meets Adam, and at the gym, Melissa just can't stop talking about Adam. And Trey gets really pissed. And then he starts cranking up her treadmill like he maxes it out. And after a little bit of time, Melissa hyperventilates and she passes out. She wakes up in his office and he's supportive and he's got those eyes again, and she senses that he's a little creepy at this point. A day or two passes, and while Melissa and Leslie were hanging out, Melissa tells Leslie that Adam hadn't called her in a bit and she's a little concerned. And then Leslie talks about how Melissa doesn't really understand her admirers, and then they start to talk about this creep that they used to know when they were in college, this fat geek that used to throw these heart-shaped notes inside of their dorm room. And the next day, at her workout, as Melissa gives Terry her phone to put in the cubby, Adam texts Melissa, saying that he was really busy with work and stuff like that, and he wants to meet her tonight. But then, the creep Trey texts Adam saying that he can't meet up tonight and to meet him tomorrow, like really early, like 5:30 early at the gym. And then he deletes Adam's texts, and then he blocks him on Melissa's phone. And in the morning, as Adam comes over to see Melissa, he sees Trey, who's just setting up the gym as it was too early. And then Trey tells him that Melissa's not there, and then Adam decides to wait for her a bit, but then Trey starts doing a superset, like he starts lifting weights, like really heavy weight. He then asks Adam if he wants to do a superset. Adam starts doing it, and then Trey, who was supposed to spot him, walks over to the side a bit, and then he cranks up some music. Trey blocks Melissa on Adam's phone without Adam noticing. And all of a sudden, when Adam can't lift the weight any longer, and when he was screaming for his help, Trey pretends not to hear him. But Adam doesn't get hurt. He manages to put the weight on the bottom rack, and he calls Trey an idiot, and he storms off. And a few days later, as Trey was teaching Melissa how to fend off predators, he gets really grabby, and that really creeps her out. So a day after, she comes over and she tells him that she doesn't really want to do the gym anymore. But he somehow convinces her to track her last progress, and he finds out that she's gained a pound. And then he gets weirdly aggressive, saying that he can't let her leave and stuff, and then she forces her way out. And at night, when she tries to get to her gallery, she finds a lot of people gawking at it, taking pictures, because it was trashed, like everything broken or torn to pieces. And next day, as Carter comes over to take the rest of his stuff from Melissa's place, he tells her that he wants to stay away from her new boyfriend that's been texting him nonstop. And he tells Melissa that he also threatened him like a lot, and that if he ever texts him again, he's probably gonna call the police. And when Leslie gets to Melissa's house, they do a computer thingy, as Leslie's a computer scientist, and then they find all the texts that were going out to Carter's phone. And it's all these creepy messages that say, "My Melissa, my Melissa." And meanwhile, as Melissa and Leslie were trying to figure out who texted Carter, we see Trey losing his mind. Because apparently, Trey used to be made fun of, like, a lot, because he used to be fat. And we see him just being very aggressive and weird. And now that Leslie and Melissa have tracked down the people that have access to Melissa's phone, Leslie goes to the gym to do some recon on Trey. And there Leslie figures out that Trey is the guy that they used to call Lunch Trey when they were in college. Apparently, Leslie and Melissa were the same people that made fun of him all those years ago. But as soon as Leslie figures this out, Trey jumps her from behind and he knocks her out. Melissa on her computer figures out that he's been the one sending the messages and blocking people, and as soon as she figures it out, she takes off the wristband that he gave her, and she goes to the gym and finds Leslie all beat up and knocked out. She makes a 911 phone call, but Trey catches her before she tells them the location. He comes into the room, overhearing the phone call that she was making, and he can hear the 911 operative saying that they're tracing the location. And not only did Trey kidnap Leslie, he's also abducted Adam. And as he was confronting Melissa and telling her that she's his, Melissa hits him on the throat, and then she runs off. It's all dark, and before he saw her, she gets down from the structure and she chokes him out. And then she unties Adam, and before they could get away, Trey gets up again, he knocks out Adam with a punch, and then he gets on top of Melissa. He starts talking about how they're gonna be together forever, but then she hits him over the head with a really heavy dumbbell, knocking him out. And as soon as she does that, we hear police sirens and police lights, and it's all okay again. And then we cut to a few weeks later, everything is okay, it's the opening of her new gallery, and then we see that she's been receiving mail from Trey, who just got sentenced for 5 years in prison. And then in the last scene, we see him making these heart-shaped notes that he's gonna send to Melissa. And that's just how the movie comes to an end, boys and girls. Remember to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and please leave us your feedback, because I will reply to every single comment that you guys write. Literally every comment. I will see you on the next recap. I love you guys so much. Bye!